My name is Scott Kokenauer, and I'm with Coffeeprops, and we are with Peter here today, also known as Coffee and I UK. You can see his Instagram account there. And Peter, thank you for taking the time to share with us today.
Not a problem. Very, very happy to be here.
Good, good. Starting off, tell us your story. How did you discover the world of coffee as we know it today?
Well, you see, I work in the hospitality industry for 8, 9 years at the moment. So for me, coffee was always somewhere around. I started my professional life in the coffee shop, and I had absolutely no idea what coffee was. My mother would always, have some filter coffee at home back in the days, but it was absolutely horrible. It's this coffee when you just buy in bulks in like packages, and it's pre-grinded, and it's just terrible. So I never liked coffee then, because it's just she drinks it till this time. So
Yeah.
that was awful. But then I moved to London when I was 24, I think 25, and I worked for one of the Jamie Oliver's restaurants. And that moment when you go behind the bar and you can make yourself a coffee in the restaurant, and I did. And there was that first time when I made a simple latte art, and it was rosette, and it was obviously not as good as I am probably now, but that got me so excited. So excited that with mixing coffee and milk, you can create art. And I always seen stuff on Instagram. I was like, oh, that's great, whatever. But when I did it, that was something exceptional. Then I started to, London is full of great coffee, and I think the first great coffee I had was in workshop coffee, and I was like, so this is how coffee can taste like, And then I started asking myself more and more questions, and obviously the latte art was this thing which definitely brought me into coffee, and I started to explore more and more and more what coffee is. But at this time, I didn't even know that the coffee comes from cherry. It's just like basics of basics, and this is where my journey started.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, we didn't realize that it was for the longest time, I didn't realize it was the pit of a cherry.
Yeah.
Of a fruit, actually.
Yeah.
So that's a great story. And so you just jumped right into it, and you started messing with it, making your own, and came alive. What do you do now? What do you do in regard to the coffee world? Because as we scroll down and you're talking, we're scrolling through your Instagram. There's some amazing photos. Tell us what you do in the coffee industry.
Well, mainly I'm a barista. So I work in a local coffee shop here in Cardiff in the UK. And most of the times I would make coffee, cleaning tables and, do pot wash and stuff. And it's not a shame. It's one of those things baristas need to do as well, which most people don't realize. They come into the coffee shop, but they're like, oh, I want to be barista. I want to do what you do, standing all day behind the coffee machine and do absolutely nothing.
Right.
And this is something what I think, I spoke with a few baristas, and it's just like blow my mind that people just think that it's such a simple thing to do. You just press a button and it happens. And it's so much more. But this is what I do. So I'm a barista, and I love photography as well. So I decided about 4 or 5 months ago to mix those two together. Those two passions, photography and coffee. So my day job is working as a barista, but then with that passion and to photography and coffee, and doing a bit more research behind coffee, I realized how much underestimated coffee is. That we just don't really think about where coffee comes from, how much hard work it goes from the cup to the bean, and that all those people from A to Z, we don't see that. We don't have to see it. We just get our takeaway cup, from our local coffee shop, and we just don't care. We just move on with our life,
Right.
And there's so much more to it.
Yeah. Well, we're scrolling down through some of these pictures, and Peter, you've got these are amazing pictures.
Thank you.
I see a ton of photos on Instagram. And those of you who are watching live on Instagram right now, tap that heart to let Peter know that you like this set of pictures. It's clear to me that you love to capture not just latte art and not just machines, but you like to capture people.
Yeah, yeah. I am a portrait photographer. That's what I do
Yeah.
as a hobby, as a profession as well on the side. So I kind of wanted to bring. I was scrolling through Instagram for a really long time until I actually went live with my account, and I was like, all of it is just like coffee beans, a little bit of equipment and beautiful latte art, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, it felt like there's no personality, there's no connection. And I think coffee brings people together. We go to coffee shops because we're meeting a friend, we have a business meeting, or we just want to do a little bit of work and on your laptop, and you still get to talk to your favorite barista, or a friend who actually works in the coffee shop.
Yeah.
It's this industry where people get together, and I thought that bringing that aspect of coffee, of socializing, of giving a shout out, to all those hardworking people I meet every single day. It's something I thought is more speaks to who I am and what I'm trying to do here. I think this is why the pictures are different.
Yes.
It's not just latte art; it's so much more again.
Yes, and your pictures tell a story. There's more than just a picture of an individual barista here. There's the pour. There's the information behind the barista. That it's telling an entire story. And I love what you say about how coffee brings us together. That is so true. The conversation, the common ground, so to speak. No pun intended. So
I mean, just look at your account. Coffeeprops. This is all what we were just talking about. That you give a shout out to other people, and you connect people.
Right.
I think this is the principle, that this is that value which I share, and I believe it.
Okay, so Naomi Amber, do you know? She just wrote, "So proud, local talent being recognized. Peter, Coffee and I UK is an amazing person, barista, photographer." So shout out there to you.
Thank you.
On Instagram Live. So let me ask you this. As you think about the coffee industry, and it goes from all the way from the farmer and his or her family, all the way through to the customer that comes through the door and orders a cup of coffee, and everything that takes place in between. If you could change one thing, one aspect to make it better, what would you choose?
Well, I think the coffee industry, I see so many great projects going on, where roasters take the step further. They don't just roast coffee and just get it from, somewhere. They actually go into the farms, they speak to the farmers, they create connections with those people, working with the plants and making sure that everything's exceptionally good. And obviously we're talking about specialty coffee industry, not talking about anything else. But I think there's a lot of good happening in this area. What I would change is how people think about coffee in general in places like UK, where I'm not sure how it is in the States and in different places around the world. But there's just so many people who just don't appreciate coffee enough, as we were talking about at the beginning. And I would definitely change. There's one thing which I thought about, that sometimes, as much as I love this industry and people work in this industry, sometimes I find baristas which are quite snobby. They just think like, oh, I'm a great barista, I do this fantastic coffee, and if you don't like it, just go to somewhere else. And I think that should change, because everyone deserves a chance. If I'm gonna make this amazing V60 geisha with the coffee, and I'm just gonna absolutely love it, and then this customer is gonna come in and say like, this is actually quite bad, I want my extra skinny, extra hot skinny latte, whatever, with vanilla syrup double shot. I'll be like, well, okay, I appreciate your opinion. Maybe next time I'm just gonna make you a flat white with one sugar in, and then you tell me how this
Right.
tastes like. If I can slowly transition you from frappuccino to flat white, that is a step further,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then from that flat white, maybe we could try, I don't know, cortado. And then from that cortado, maybe we can try an espresso, and then from that espresso, we can talk about flavors. And this is a ground where I can actually talk a little bit more of the customer.
Exactly.
So I would change that snobbiness. I want baristas to invite people, don't push them away.
Yeah.
I think it's something which we need to think about as well.
Well, we consumers would appreciate that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because the coffee, it's not just okay. I'm just gonna grab a coffee and go. I think the hospitality aspect and then this welcoming feel, family and friends, all those words. I think they all should come together in coffee. So because when you walk into the specialty coffee shop, you want to feel like you're at home, and you want to stay there. Right? It's good for business. It's good for people, and I think that's something we should think about.
We just did an interview recently with the authors of the book Grounded, which I highly recommend, a small book on how to make the best cup of coffee at home. And I love what they said, and you echo that same thing, and that is, don't try to change it. Like if on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being you know everything about this coffee culture, 1 being I'll order a frappuccino. That's all I know. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't jump from 1 to 10. You jump from 1 to 2.
Yeah.
And wherever you're at, there's nobody who's in a wrong place on the continuum. You just
think about that. People walk into the coffee shop and they have so many thoughts in their head already. They are so busy. There's so much out there, so much content, so much data you need to process on a daily basis to actually function.
Right.
That when they walk into the coffee shop, when you start talking about coffee, they're like, well, I don't care. I just want to get that, extra hot latte and get out of here,
Yeah.
And I think, even if you can just feed them just like a little bit by bit, establish some regular customers, in everything. If you get all the specialty coffee shops in the area and everyone think the same way, in 5 years' time, we just gonna be a totally different nation,
Yeah.
And I think this is powerful, slowly, but just be focused on what you do and make sure that you do it right. You don't want to scare people. You want to invite them.
Yeah. Yeah. And the UK doesn't have a corner on this market. I mean, America, there's a similar problem in America as well. And I'm sure all over the world. But I love what you would change. And I think based on what you're doing, you are making that change right where you're at. So I
hope so.
Yeah. Well, let me finish this interview by asking you a final question, and that is, if you only had one drink that you could choose, what would it be?
At the moment, definitely flat white.
Okay. Why a flat white?
Because it's the perfect mixture between this espresso and sweetness of the milk. I am on my journey of understanding the flavors in espresso and in filter and in different ways of brewing coffee. So at the moment, it's going to be flat white because that's something I'm confident in, and I can taste the difference when it's like 10 ounce or 6 ounce cup, or 5 ounce cup, or when I have cortado, it's 4 ounce. I can taste the difference, and I consciously understand that. But when we're talking about filter and or espresso and trying to find all those fine flavors, it takes me a little bit longer. So I'm not confident yet to tell you that. But come back to me in a year and we have a different conversation.
Okay, and it's a date.
Journey.
We will do that, if not sooner. All right?
Yeah, well, that would be great.
Okay, well, Peter, thank you for taking your time. I love listening to you. I love hearing what your attitude is about being a barista and your humility and your quality. My goodness, those of you watching either on YouTube or right now on Instagram Live, you have got to follow. Let's go up to the top here. You've got to follow coffee_and_I_UK. All right, so follow Peter. Keep watching what he's doing. He's recently been doing some shout outs of individual people and asking them questions, and it's been really a cool process to read what people are thinking. And so Peter, thank you. Have a great afternoon.
Much. Yeah, I hope that people are really going to take time to read those guys' stories because they're really inspirational and they inspire me. I hope
Yes.
It will inspire other people as well.
Yes.
And there's some more projects on the way, which we don't have time
Good.
to talk about right now. But some exciting stuff is happening.
Okay, you keep it up. All right, keep in touch
Keep
with
it
us.
up. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
It was good to see you. Cheers.
Okay.